I started in the financial services industry about 17 or 18 years ago now, and I was working with my dad. My mother and father were both entrepreneurs, and my father came over from Germany when he was 6. So he and his parents started with nothing. They were very hardworking, but what that translated into is, I guess, really being all about money, success, the picture that you portray to the world. And so really, I followed that same thing. So in that, it was nice. I was good at sitting down with people and discussing their problems and then helping them find answers. And so I was successful. So the money started flowing in. Well, of course, after it starts flowing in, materialistic person that I was said, well, what can I do with this money? And so, of course, started doing ignorant things like buying new cars. And so I think we had 3 daughters at the time and a 4th in the way. So we said, well, let's buy this house. Well, that was great, but it hadn't been updated since the 70s, and I really wanted to make it our home. Before I knew it, we had redone everything. And it took a lot of time away from my business, and it also took a lot of money. And we didn't have the money. It was one of those things where I just kept borrowing and borrowing and borrowing in order to do this thing. And then 2008 hit, and I couldn't move around the debt anymore. I had an amazing $247,000 of just credit card debt. And really what happened in that time was everything came crashing down to the point where there were no more things that I could do. Really I had to face this, and as everything started to crumble, I, of course, at that time am more about reaching out to God and saying, God, help me. It showed me in there what God was doing. He was first of all exposing that that He wasn't on His rightful throne, and that materialism, greed, success, money was on His throne. And if you would have asked me before that, I would have said, no, God's number one in my life, But when it comes to dealing with finances, and it speaks about this in the Bible, that the materialism and greed is very deceptive. Even talks about it that it's a sin of the eye, and it blinds us to it. It says in John 15:5 that I am the vine and you are the branches. A man who remains in me and I in him will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. So going through this, God was just pruning me. He wanted me to bear fruit, and He couldn't do it the way that I was. So I believed it could happen. I believed that we could make it through it, and of course only with God's help. I mean, He blessed that path back, and we don't worry about it anymore. I used to be so worried and anxious about money, and it doesn't make me fearful anymore. And I'm so thankful for that, because it really did drive my life in so many different ways before, and that's not the case anymore. Something that I did that was so ignorant, I think is actually having a positive impact on our family and my kids as we go forward, and they've learned about money, and hopefully just on anybody else that I get to share that story with.